for this, and then somebody decided she needed to come hang out with me while we were waiting for you.
Do you
And then
set
right as I was gonna
candles
see
before the
city.
show?
What's that?
You set candles before the show?
I mean, tonight we're telling spooky stories, man.
That is true.
Besides, my house smells like dog and kid piss. Yes, I set candles sometimes.
Okay. Please tell me.
You're not editing this.
Somebody's knocking right now. I'm about to lose my shit.
Ooh,
What?
Yeah.
What? I am on a show, and I will kill you now.
I'm famous. Don't you know who you're talking to?
We are on the show. I am recording. First of all, Jay, no. Talk to your dad. I don't know what you're asking. I have my earphones on, and bye-bye. Sorry, I love you, but damn. Can you give me 1 hour? Just one. Just 1 hour.
No, because mine couldn't give me 30 seconds without pulling a fucking candle under her own head.
Lord have mercy. We just, we do our best. What are you typing? What are you typing?
I'm typing on the Creepin' It Real page. Christy and I are a duo. Duoing it drunk tonight.
Duo drunk. I mean, I'm really drunk. I apologize to everybody out there because, see, it's not Moni's fault per se, but we were
Did I set a car fire? It's not my fault, period.
I know, but you said 8. So I was like, alrighty. So I started drinking at like 7. No, I started drinking at like 6:45. And I thought, okay, I have this much of the alcohol to drink, and I will drink it and be ready to go at 8 o'clock. And then she said, it's looking more like 8:30. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. 8:30, okay. And then she's like, looking more like 9. I'm like, oh my God, you are going to hate me at the end of this show because I'm not going to be able to do anything except literally tell stupid horror stories. Because this is what we're doing today, people. We're doing drunk horror story instead of drunk history.
Can we tell drunk horror stories?
Horror and horror. I think.
Okay.
I think it's just fair. I think we should cover every base.
I want to talk about bitches doing the walk of shame. That's what I want to talk about.
That's right. Bitches doing it for themselves. Yes, I think that's a great idea. But I do have some horror stories as well. But first, I have 2 things. One, I'm an asshole, and I haven't mailed out the tumblers yet, and I apologize.
Straight to hell.
I know. I had a lot of work to do last week and then holidays and I'm an asshole. So those are the 3 big trifectas of not getting your tumblers. So I will be, see, this is what you're going to have to deal with. I apologize. I will be mailing them out this week. And then second, Moni, I want to hear about your big gig coming up at the old Comic-Con thing, Shababs.
Oh, that old thing. So, first of all, we're late, and I'm trying to catch up. So, I'm guzzling sangria that I made over the weekend for a 4th of July. Well, I had a 7th of July party. I had a bunch of people over this weekend. We saw fireworks from Pachanga from our backyard. That was fun.
Sweet.
And the sangria has rum and wine and soda and the fruit in it. So, it's good stuff. And then I'm eating pizza. I'm supposed to be on a diet. Whoopsie. And then I was coming home on this 1-lane road and somebody lit their fucking car on fire. I was 2 miles from my house. Like I could have off-roaded.
How does one light their car on fire?
I don't know. I called dispatch and I was like, might need some help up here. Everybody's stuck. And they're like, CHP is on the way, but it's not an accident. It's a fire. It's a car fire. I'm like, neat. Good job, everybody, for being stupid. So, so we're recording now. We're recording. You're not going to edit this, which sucks because my 2-year-old tried to pull a candle. And yes, I have a candle because the lights in my giant bedroom suck. And I lit a candle, A, for light, and B, because I have kids and animals and it smells in here. And C, because we're telling horror stories and I wanted to set a creepy time, a creepy vibe. And I was trying to get in the mood for the creepies because I've been on the fucking road for 2 hours on a 40-minute drive.
Well, you better drink up because this is not going to stand.
This is
You
not a
must
gonna.
be drunk.
Yeah, you're
That
not gonna
was the
stand. You're
point.
gonna fall. So there's
I
that.
mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But this was the point of the show, is we're supposed to be drunk
I
during the show.
know.
Now
I'm
I'm
a
too drunk,
failure.
and you're
I'm a
under
failure.
drunk. And now what are we supposed to do with
I'm a
this? Now
failure.
I'm too drunk, and you're under drunk, and I'm the one that's supposed to be recording this. So
Is
what do
there
you think
such a
about
thing as
that?
underdrunk? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not going to apologize again. So just one more time,
All right.
disclaimer, if you don't want to hear a complete shit show, turn around now. If you want to watch a train wreck, keep driving. But
Or hear it.
otherwise,
Or hear.
back off. I don't want to get a bad review that's like, those bitches are just drunk and they blah, blah, blah. Because that's exactly what's happening tonight.
Yep.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah, Yardley couldn't make it. And so
Yeah.
we decided Yardley can't do it because he's got like a billion pod
pieces and podcasts.
podcasts to record. And so we were like, hey, we can still do this, even though he's got a million things to do just to fill in the blanks. And hey, let's make it funny.
Have another hiatus. Those are dumb. We've got like a, what is it called? Momentum building. And we don't want to screw that up. So, and then
now we've decided to scare your asses away by being drunk. So how about that?
Next week, yes, I'm going to Comic-Con, so we'll record one more this weekend, and then I won't be recording the following week. And that's another reason why we didn't want to take today off, because, yes, I'm going to be at Comic-Con, and on Thursday of Con, the first official day of Con, I will be presenting on the topic of graphic novels for adults and why they are cool and interesting and good for you to read, and why it's not just for kids.
I would like to have that in a video so that we can post it on our page if so inclined.
Funny thing about that, there is an official video that San Diego Comic-Con films every year, and they are super duper strict and weird and secretive, and they don't release it for many months after. However, I have some friends that may or may not be from work that want to use it for work purposes that may or may not be recording. I cannot confirm or deny. So
okay.
I will have at least still photos and definitely at least still photos and probably some video that is like, I can't help it if someone in the crowd in this day and age is filming it. So, there's that.
Well, I would like to tell you a story to celebrate my stupidity. Are you ready?
To celebrate it? Yes, I'll raise a glass. Go ahead.
So remember that conversation? Okay, so backstory is me and Moni are meeting in San Jose to go to the Winchester Mansion
in November.
And stay at a haunted hotel. Like, we're so excited. We have this whole thing. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to make a extra little vacay out of it and go to the Redwoods and do something cool and cozy. And I found this hotel, and I even sent it to Moni. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm going to do.
She's totally going to get murdered. Yeah.
Yeah, you thought I was going to get murdered, but it was after our show, or not our show, but our trip. And I book it. And then I'm like, for shits and giggles the next day, I'm like, okay, let me get all this planned out. Blue, 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 type, type, type. And then I realize, guess what? So when I searched from the state parks the first time, and I took the title of that and searched the second time, it was a different state park, like 8 hours away from where San Jose is. Why do y'all motherfuckers coast so big is what I want to know. And so I
West Coast is the best coast. Anyways.
I guess, but I booked a hotel that's like 6.5 hours away from Winchester. So I have to cancel it.
Yeah.
And figure my shit out. And now I'm pissed. So if anybody knows of some fun stuff to do in San Jose, I mean, I get it. San Francisco. I've been to San Francisco. I'm looking for something a little bit different. So I was really excited to do the Redwoods, but apparently they're not right out of San Francisco.
I was kind of wondering.
You could have told me. I was like,
Southern
it's just
California
an hour.
and Northern California are two very different animals. So I was like, that doesn't sound like something that's close, but also I don't live up there, so I don't know.
Well,
there's
I
a big
was
coast.
So I searched, and the post outside of where we are is almost the exact same name as the post up in Northern California. So it, like, Google Maps, like exchanged it, and was like, yeah, yo, this is good. And I'm like, sweet. So I start, searching for the town, found the perfect place, everything I wanted, booked it, done. Next day, start searching, and I'm like, wait a minute, that says it's 6.5 hours away from the hotel that you and I are staying at.
It's fine. You were going to get murdered anyway. This is for the best. This is so that you don't run into, like, the West Coast version of the Texas Chainsaw, like, Leatherface. So you'll be fine.
I just wanted to see some redwoods. What's wrong with that?
You can get some wood at home. You'll be fine. So.
Oh, okay.
There's that.
All right. We got anything else to talk about before we dive in? Oh, you know what we didn't do?
What?
We didn't dive into our opening, like, welcome to the Creepin' and Real Show, your one-stop shop for weirdness, spooky.
And then who's technically the host? Like, who's supposed to do
We're
just
sharing it.
Well, you're drunk. You should do it because it'll be amazing.
I already did it. I just did it right now. See? Like, weirdness, spooky.
Well, then dishes are done, man. And if you don't know what movie that's from, fuck you. So there's that.
And paranormal shenanigans.
Yeah, that was a nice opener that you wrote. It's good stuff.
Done and done. Yardley actually wrote that. He did a good job.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Yardley wrote that. He's good. He's good at the podcastings.
Yeah, he's good at stuffing things.
Yeah, I'm just good at being drunk and recording, apparently.
Are you going to read the first one so I can catch up to you with the booze?
Should I? Okay, yeah. You chug, and I will talk about the EMT 59. He's in California.
Hell yeah, West Coast is the best coast.
All right, I'm going to do my best because I'm way too I'm drunker than I thought I was going to be. I thought I was going to be buzzed.
Have fun at work tomorrow.
This is not an accomplishment. This is, I can make this work. Oh, fuck. I am screwed. Anyway, Rick's waiting downstairs anxiously, like, yeah.
I was like, for what? Never mind.
Bring drunk Christy down.
Getting some wood. I got it.
Anywho, all right. So this guy, okay, so I did happen upon a conversation, and I did ask his permission if I could talk about it, and he gave it to me. EMTs having weird experiences, and I thought these were kind of freaky. So, EMT 59, he's in California, says, one of our respiratory therapists used to work in an ER and told me the story, as well as a few other people that were there. A cardiac arrest came in. They worked on him for about 15 minutes when suddenly the whole staff had a feeling that made them all look towards the doorway. Everyone I have talked to said the same thing. They all saw what appeared to be their patient standing in the doorway, staring at them. Everyone was dead quiet for a few seconds before the doctor said, well, I think that means we should call it now.
No.
I think he's kind of like, hey, I'm dead, yo. You can give up.
Throw in the towel.
He's a considerate stiff.
I'd like a considerate stiff. What?
Okay.
Wow, don't die.
I'm done now.
The next one's from the same guy. You want to keep going?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, baby, don't stop. Oh, baby, don't stop.
Oh, no, I will not. I had a call early in the morning, and this is him actually, around 2 or 3, in a rehabilitation facility on the 3rd floor. We got up there, walked past a room. The door was slightly opened and had a few wheelchairs just sitting there. Didn't think anything of it. Fire department was in our patient's room already, so we waited outside, talking to one of the nurses. We heard a creak that came from the room we walked past earlier, and the nurse told us that that room was haunted and nobody is supposed to go in there. I ended up not taking the patient. As we walked past the room again, a fire medic, my partner, and I all looked in at the same time and saw 2 of the wheelchairs roll into each other, stopped, then turned towards us. All 3 of us got chills. The medic threw his box and monitor on our gurney, and we walked fast back to the elevator.
No.
I mean, that's
I would have walked fast, too. I hate elevators, but I would have gone for it at that point.
I agree.
Doc Doc_Apex. Should I like set a tone? Or are we gonna have some music in the background? We're like, it was a dark and stormy night.
I can put music in here, bitch. I can do anything I want. I can do all of it.
You're so not gonna though. You're always like, yeah, I'll edit this. Wink, wink, and then it's like all our dipshittery on Front Street.
But I love the dipshittery. That's the best part to me. Oh my God, you literally capitalized. Okay, so she's reading a script, and the first word wasn't capitalized just now, and she capitalized it.
Oh yeah, I'm going through. This is how we know I'm not drunk enough, as I'm like fixing the document.
Girl, have a shot. Have a shot, girl.
I need to eat some of the fruit floating in this shit because it's pretty strong.
I just ate a Whopper.
Whopper, no onions. I've had 2 pieces of pizza while you were talking.
All right, talk about Doc Apex.
Super professional. Doc_Apex. Ahem. This story takes place around the time of the housing crisis back in 2008. I was in high school at the time. Fuck you, young person. A buddy, I'll call Eric, and myself would do. He probably has his whole life ahead of him and shit.
Right.
I'll call Eric and myself would do some urban exploring by sneaking into empty, abandoned/foreclosed homes. Of course, we do these explorations in the dead of night to avoid any trouble with the law. I can't give away the location because people now live there. And I have no scientific rational explanation for what happened. But I know rationale explanation for what happened. But I know I saw and heard, so I'd like to share it with y'all.
Oh, are you coming here with Atlanta?
Oh my God, my husband hates it when I talk like that. Like, you want to see a boner killer, that's...
He should never meet me then.
Nah, you don't sound like that. So we all set out around 12 a.m. Okay, I'm done. Just like we would any night. About an hour or so in, we find a house that I often saw on my walks to school. As we walk up to the house, we scan for anyone, then make our way down the large driveway that leads into the backyard of the house. The first thing I noticed is how tall the grass was. Like it hadn't been mowed in quite some time. Months, I'd say. This person is quite descriptive. Then I noticed a smaller house further near the back of the property. We told ourselves we'd check that house out once we'd explored the bigger one. Man, get to the point, bro. We enter the bigger house from the door that leads into the garage, and from the garage we step into the kitchen. Oh my God, believe it or not, the doors were unlocked. Dun dun dun. So we enter the kitchen. We enter the kitchen and we see that the kitchen is almost pitch black. Well, I would imagine there's nobody there. We can only see a few feet ahead thanks to the streetlights. Thank you, streetlights. So I use my only light source, a cheap flip phone with screen brightness on max. We start our exploration down the hallway and check out each room. 5 in total and counting the 2 living rooms. Eric is close behind me as we make our way through each room and eventually back to the kitchen. Once in the kitchen, we chat about how nice the house is. Who gives a shit? And its size, given the area it's in, much bigger than the surrounding houses. As we're talking, I notice a metal decoration hanging above the kitchen doorway. It almost looked like some kind of decorative shield. I pull it from its spot and inspect it closely. Once done, I can't figure out how to put it back, so I set it between my feet on the tile floor. I take a look at my friend and take a step into the kitchen. Then we both hear what sounds like something sliding along the floor and then bang at the end of the hall. Eric and I freeze and stare at one another through the streetlight shining through the kitchen window, and Eric whispers to me, "Is there someone here with us? Did someone follow us in?"
Scared.
I honestly don't know. But after a minute or two, we decide to walk down the hall and see what the noise was. Never do that, bro. This is like a horror movie. You just go the other way. You say nope and you leave.
Yeah.
As my phone light creeps the end of the wall, we see the shield I had just put down. We were both relieved, and I thought, well, maybe I kicked it when I stepped and didn't notice. I picked it up, and this time I figure out how it needs to be attached to its original position. Once again, I look at Eric, and we take a step towards him and hear a few clangs on the floor, and that familiar sliding sound across the floor, and the bang against the wall. Now we're really scared and frozen. Not moving. Run, bitch, run! Not moving for what seemed like forever. Then an even louder bang is heard on the other end of the house, and we both jump and stare at the dark hallway. Then again, bang! I love bangs, but this doesn't sound like the good kind. And then quiet, and then 3 rapid bangs. So much banging, you guys. Someone was thrashing around in the very last room in the house, and we didn't know what the fuck to do. Very descriptive. Determined not to let this person scare us, we run towards the last room and confront the asshole. Why is he an asshole? You're the ones breaking into a house. Just saying. When we get there, nothing. No one.
An empty house.
Dun, dun, dun. The room was empty. But how? And who? We were sure it was coming from this room. There's no way whoever it was slipped by us. The room had a sliding glass door leading into the backyard, but it was locked from the inside. Then before we can gather our thoughts and ask each other what is happening, bang, bang, bang! And this time from the kitchen. Ooh, getting banged in the kitchen's fun. Scared out of my fucking mind, we both agree it's time to leave. We make our way through the back door in the room and finally to the street, all while checking over our shoulders to ensure that no one was going to come running out of the house after us. No one came, and the neighborhood was quiet. Eric and I start our walk home, talking about the house, when Eric notices his pocket knife is missing, and then turns his pockets inside out to show he isn't joking. We stop, and he keeps telling me we have to go back for it since it's his favorite one. Frustrated, I say, "How did you lose it? It's your favorite knife." He assures me he never removed it from his pocket and has no idea how it could have been removed. I agree to go with him and find it. We make it halfway up the street. Eric tells me his back feels like it's on fire. I can see it's really bothering him because of the expression of pain on his face. He asks me to lift his shirt and look at what could be causing the burning sensation. This is how pornos start. I got a burning. Take my clothes off and check.
Mm-hmm.
I lift his shirt. More banging, yes. I lift his shirt and quickly notice 3 large scratches. Ooh, sexy. Scratches on the back. From his right shoulder blade all the way down to his left hip. Then from his left hip, and I dip, you dip, we dip, across to his right hip.
Mm-hmm.
I tell him this, and he immediately says the house is haunted, but he still wants to go get the knife. Yeah, that's a bad idea, bruh. I'm scared, but I'm not going to let him go alone. Another bad idea, bruh. So we make our way back into the house and immediately hear that banging noise, but we made a pact with each other that we would not run no matter what happened. We begin our search for the knife, looking high and low while we hear the banging, and now things are being thrown across the room. You fuck. Of course, I'm fucking scared shitless, and I want to leave. But we haven't found the knife yet. Jesus. You're going to need that knife to protect
Somebody
yourself.
needs some knives. I got to question that.
Yeah.
She needs
we
those
do
fucking
one
knives
pass through
for.
the... Oh, sorry. We do one pass through the entire house and end up in the kitchen. In the kitchen, there's an entrance to the second living room that you can see in the front yard. In the room is one piece of furniture, a hutch. Now, we had already checked this room, and it's near the point of the entrance and found nothing, but we decided to make one more pass through the room as it would not hurt. Yes, it could. I make my way into the dark room and let my light lead me to the hutch, and there it is. On the hutch, we find the knife. But for fucking sure, we check this room and the hutch. He didn't hesitate for a moment. He grabbed it, and we hightailed through the garage and back onto the street.
So that ghost likes knives.
Yeah. Well, join the club. Maybe the ghost is a homeless guy from the library with the knives.
And then he's taking a shit in an alley somewhere.
Hey, you know what? He wasn't throwing shit, so I appreciate that.
No, I mean, yeah. All right. All right. I'm going to try to read this. It's long. Not as long as yours. Thank you for reading that long-ass one.
Yeah, man. I'm going to go back to drinking now.
You keep drinking.
Yes, I am a cheap drinker, yes.
You cheap drink and keep drink, and I will read. BPG 131313. It sounds like a code, but I'm just going to read a story. Back when I was a captain in the fire department, we responded to a house fire early in the morning. Oh, I remember this one now. It's really fucking creepy. We arrived, the roof was breached, and flames had taken out 2 windows on the second floor of a split-level home. We made entry, and even though the roof was breached, the thermocline was about 2 feet. What is a thermocline? What does that mean?
I have no idea.
He must be legit because he's talking fireman speaks.
Don't use technical terms.
Whatever that is, was about 2 feet off the floor. Okay. We wouldn't have gone in at all, but a child was missing, and the father and mother had gotten out of the house, but they couldn't get to their daughter's room. The father was being treated for burns on his hands and forearms. as he had tried to go in after her. I am sorry.
What?
Suffice to say, they were frantic.
Suffice.
They told us that her room was on the second floor. Second door on the right. Simple enough. I'm reading from the script, girl. This is what he wrote. We made entry, and the stairs faced the door. Rapid burst from the TFT to the ceiling. I don't know what that even means.
What?
Brought the smoke level up to about 4 feet from the floor.
Okay.
That's when my handlineman and I saw something that neither of us could explain. I saw motion to my left down on the main floor. Someone was walking around downstairs. I pointed to my handlineman, and he saw it too. We couldn't see a body as the person was in the smoke, but we could see the legs and the feet clearly. It looked to be a man wearing olive green trousers and leather shoes. Oh, well, that sounds like me. Anyway, I love olive green and leather shoes, so that's something I do. But anyway, it was not me. I wouldn't say that the legs were dancing.
Oh.
But they were certainly moving in a way to get our attention. They weren't dancing, but they were doing like a jig, I guess. I don't know.
No.
We redirect back down the stairs and see the legs go into a door on the right side of the small hallway. We both saw the legs go into that room. We get down the hallway and the door is closed. Feeling the door, there weren't flames behind it, and we made entry to discover that we were in a bathroom. The light was on, and curled up in the bathtub was a little girl. There was no one else in the room with her. So what happened to the jig man? With the olive pants?
We don't want to know.
We broke out the window and got her to a second crew keeping the house next door from catching fire. We looked around the bathroom again and couldn't find the man we'd both seen going into the bathroom. There was nowhere for him to hide in there. We withdrew from the house and did exposure control. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds like a left fireman hobble-baloo, as the house was a complete loss, with the fire already ingressing into the living room. I don't know what that means. Anyway, the parents had gone with their daughter to the hospital where she was checked and cleared to go later that morning. And the man suffered only first and small second-degree burns on his hands and forearms. The family stopped by the station and wanted to thank us for saving their daughter. They asked us how we knew to check the first floor bathroom. And I asked them if they knew anything about a man in olive green trousers with leather shoes.
Oh, no.
The man pulled out his phone after a minute of thinking and showed us a picture of two old men standing in a lawn. One of the men was clearly wearing olive green trousers and those leather shoes. The man we had seen on the first floor had passed away in 1976 and was the man's father. The little girl's grandfather has showed us where she was. We all were speechless. It's the only time I've ever seen a ghost during a response.
No.
Hello.
No.
Hello. I was real creepy.
I do not like it.
Well, if you don't like that, you better not read Burrow's comment, because he really got some crazy shit going.
Joroboro, I think.
Yeah.
Don't quote me, but also quote me.
Don't quote me, girl, because I ain't said shit.
I'm looking for, so this whole time that we've been on here, I've been looking for this story about this woman who was admitted to the hospital and she had no pulse and she like kills the doctor with her teeth and like all this shit.
What?
It's one of my favorite freaking scary stories. It can't be true, but I can't find it anywhere. She has black eyes, but she's not a black-eyed child. She's a woman and she has sharp teeth and she gets sent to she comes into the hospital and she's like whispering and they can't hear her and they put their ear, like the nurse puts her ear up to hear what she's saying and she bites them.
Is that real?
And she kills everybody and walks out.
No, that ain't real.
I know, but the picture's so creepy.
Okay.
So I'm trying to find it, but I will read this next, but I will keep trying to find it. So I'm totally listening to you, except when I'm not listening to you to try to find this really creepy
that
story.
means all the time, because all I can hear is your ass typing the whole time I'm talking.
I mean, you'll be fine.
It's cool, because I'm just going to nip that shit out.
I was going to say, is it my typing, or is it you just so drunk you think you hear typing, or is it a ghost typer?
It's your typing.
No, it's ghost typer.
It's this.
I'm not typing that hard. I like
it's
typing
pretty hard. It's
I
pretty
type
hard.
like a T-Rex hands with this like tick, 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 tick.
Read Jarno Boro.
Joro Boro, I was visiting my friend who had moved to a different city into his own apartment, as opposed to moving into someone else's apartment. Anyway, I hadn't been there before, but the first time I walked into his place, I immediately felt uneasy. I had planned to get drunk, order pizza, hey, that's my night, and play some video games, but I was starting to second-guess that decision. I didn't want to be rude to my friend, so I stuck it out for a while and hooked up my PS4 to show him a new game I'd started playing, and he asked if I wanted some beer, and I said sure, and he said he had to run to the store to grab some and to be right back. No thank you. I stayed at his place, finished setting up my TV and getting everything plugged in. About 5 minutes later, my friend comes back to the door, doesn't say a word, walks into his room and closes the door. I was confused, and I asked him if he was all right, and he didn't respond. I thought maybe he forgot his wallet or something, so I loaded up the game and thought nothing of it. About 10 minutes passed, my friend walked through the front... Oh, fuck no. My friend walked through the front door again, and I said, weren't you just in your room? And he said, no. I got up and explained what happened. He opened the door to his room, and no one was there. Needless to say, he locked all his doors, and we just got drunk and tried to forget about it. And to this day, I do not know what the hell it was that I saw. I tell you what, too... He's lucky his friends survived, because that's usually like when you see a doppelganger.
Doppelganger! You
then
nailed
you die.
it. You nailed it.
That's what happens.
Good for you. You nailed it.
I nail it good, baby. But I'm still looking for this story, and it's such a creepy ass story, but I can't find it. I won't type in your ear anymore, but I'm just gonna sit here.
I don't care.
I'm gonna sit on my thumbs, and I'm gonna rotate, and I'm gonna like it.
You type all you want, sweetie.
You do you. You do you with the typing.
I am a confident woman that can handle typing.
Handle it.
But, so, I'm going to skip this one that I just wrote that I have on
no other
here.
one.
There is another one, though, my friend.
Not on this document.
I know. It's on a secret.
Oh, you're holding back on me?
It's a secret document.
I can't find this story about the woman who goes into the hospital room and kills everybody. It was so creepy.
This is a little bit of a long one, kind of like the one you read before.
That's what she said.
All right. This person says, I'm a relatively normal and successful person. I've realized for about 15 years now that I'm a sensitive, but even with that, I seem to be a hub for weirdness. When I was a kid, I astral traveled. I would end up on top of my ceiling, floating around or flying around in circles, looking at myself sleeping in the bed below. Then a man would join me, and I would go see other countries, times, or people I loved. The man I would describe as Native American. One time, I remember traveling to another world, and I was walking down a hallway with him, and with him behind me, and hands were reaching out of the walls, trying to grab me.
Nope.
He pulled my arm, and it scared me for a minute, but then he said he's bringing me home. I felt myself fall into my bed, and I was opening my eyes. That continued well into my late 20s. It took me a few bad experiences to realize that not everyone deals with all of this at night. Most times, I wasn't really wanting to go hold on. I lost my place. Hold on. Wanting to go do anything but sleep and dream of Corey Haim and a Fraggle Rock. But I'd end up hanging out in the corner of my ceiling if I didn't participate, which I think is why the man helped me out.
Oh.
Also with that was I saw red eyes in my closet, just staring and blinking at me. They'd scare me so bad I'd cry myself to sleep.
Yeah.
And I would beg my parents to remove any photos in my room because I was afraid they'd get red eyes as well in the pictures. One night when I was 8 years old, I was so terrified that I honestly felt like I was going to have a heart attack, just completely paralyzed with fear while these eyes blinked at me and stared at me. I began praying for help, and then on the ceiling a person appeared with a light behind them, and they just floated above, but I wasn't scared. I remember smiling when they held their hand out to me, and I nodded off to sleep, and I felt safe.
No.
Also during that time, when I was in middle school, through high school, I lived in a haunted house. A little boy and his grandpa spirit, and they visited, and they were very active. The little boy would come into my room and pull stuff out of my closet and put it in a pile on my bed. I could hear it happening when we'd all be in the living room as a family. The boy messed with my parents and sisters too. We finally moved because the activity was so bad. And 2 months later, the new owners called us saying they saw an old man standing in our closet. And he disappeared before their eyes.
No.
Then, fast forward to my freshman year in high school when I was in a severe car accident. We hit a phone pole and flipped 5 times.
Jesus.
The pole hit my door. I was in the back seat behind the driver, and the car wrapped around the pole. EMTs, firemen, and police said there was no way I should have lived through that accident. I remember the car hitting the pole, and then the car flipping, but I wasn't flipping. I felt like I was being suspended in the air as the car flipped. The girl next to me was thrown out of the car, and neither of us were wearing seatbelts because it was the 90s. I suffered bruising of the brain and short-term memory loss. And with that came the dreams. I dream about things coming true constantly, mundane things, but I can finish sentences and I can tell someone if they're getting a job or having a baby. So, that's me. I wrote that myself. So that's what I dealt with when I was a kid. And that is all true. And that is my truth. And that's what I wrote. I decided to write it, and I thought, I want to write it as a scary story because I compartmentalized all that shit for so long that it wasn't all together, and it was all just these separate weird things. But then when you put them together and you really look at them all together, you realize that's a lot of fucked up stuff. And there's more when I was an adult, but that's just when I was a kid. And that's what happened to me. Like, that's the truth. And so those are my memories. It took me a long time to kind of hash out that I wasn't having nightmares. And I was really like, that was my experience for a long time. And yeah, so it is what it is. That was my past.
Oh my God, you dropped like sobering truth bomb. What am I supposed to say? That's amazing.
It's really crazy, but you know what? Like, I really think, and let me just, and I wrote this too, but I didn't know if I should still talk, but, so here's the end. I'm going to skip a lot, but now for the last 10 years, I hear things all the time. I can be lying in bed and awake, and I'm wide awake, but I keep my eyes closed because I can hear people whispering, even though no one's home. I can hear it's 2 separate women whispering, but I can't make out the conversation. I also saw a woman's spirit walking next to my husband in the middle of the night when he got up to use the restroom. And it scared me. It scared me. Yeah, it scared me so badly, I was afraid to go in our room for weeks. Yeah. The doorknob in our room turns by itself as well. There's more, blah, blah, blah. This was me just writing it down. my daughter, hold on, here it is, yeah. And my daughter, when she's now 15, but when she was 7, she woke up crying, saying that she saw red eyes in her closet. Well, what a surprise, because that's what I saw when I was younger. She also had a nightmare that my parents' house was on fire. Then 4 hours later, their house caught on fire. And that is a true story. Then my dad told me about my grandma. She saved my grandpa's life when she had a dream about an elevator accident that he was going to be in. She begged him to not get in the elevator, and he thought she was crazy. He goes to work and was walking onto the elevator, and at the very last minute decided to take the stairs, and sure enough, the elevator crashed and killed everybody. So I think it's like a hereditary thing. Like, we're just weirdos. But anyway, I have one more story, and I'm sorry, but this is just like my experience. As I remember them, I was writing them down because my life is so bizarre. Like, I don't even realize at times all of this shit really happened to me. But when I was 6 years old, and this has actually been backed up by the family who were there, my mom, me, my aunt, Linda, and her daughter Heather were driving to visit my grandma in a tiny town called Buffalo Gap, Texas, and we were driving from New Mexico. I remember my mom and my aunt in the front seat, and then my cousin and I in the back playing Barbies. Then we hear my mom and my aunt freak out, and we look over the front seat, and my aunt is on the floorboards, which to this day, I remember this. It was so weird. I'm like looking down at her, and I'm like, my Aunt Linda, and I'm like, why are you in the floorboard? And she's looking up at me and like shaking her head. And my aunt is on the floorboards, and my mom is ducking under the steering wheel. And I remember my mom going down, trying to fit under the steering wheel and screaming. And they're screaming at us to get down. And I look up, and a giant farm tractor is driving down a narrow road bridge. And the back farming metal piece is swinging back and forth. And I can see it's about to hit us, so I duck down. All of a sudden, we hear the sound of gravel, and the car comes to a stop. And all 4 of us sit up and look out the back of the window where we were across the little bridge, and the tractor was on the other side. The metal piece is still swinging. It is impossible that our car could have crossed that indented road space and not have collided with the tractor. I remember my mom and my aunt talking about it for years later, but no one ever really came to any conclusion.
No, dude.
That really happened. Like, it really happened. I remember it. It was so crazy, and I remember them talking about it for years after that. And at the time, I'm kind of like, whatever, like, blee, 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 I'm 6, you don't really but I remember it so clearly. And I remember that huge tractor with this giant, thing, those things you lower into the ground, and they, have tongs on them, and they're, tonging into the earth, and, I don't know what you do with that shit. I'm not, but it was, loose, and it was swinging back and forth. Ugh. And there was just no way that, first of all, the whole truck took the bridge, but the fact that the metal thing was swinging was, impossible. It's just so bizarre. So that's my crazy shit. What do you got, girl? Got anything else? What you got?
Geez, following that act, well,
let's read that as something that's just another story, because everybody's going to listen to this and think, I don't know where that fucking happened, even though it really did. And
it did.
It happened to me. It's crazy, but whatever. Hey, you do what you do. So what you got?
My 5-year-old is starting to talk to people that aren't there, and tell me, she has a huge imagination to the point of they're lies, but she's making up stories. But so it's probably that, but she's been oh yeah, so did you just hear that guy? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And for instance, we were by this mortuary, actually, at this place I used to work at. We had parked there to go see some old friends, and behind it is a mortuary. And I've actually done a haunted walking tour, and historically there's like supposedly hauntings in the area. Anyway, my 6-year-old's like, the guy just said hi to us. And I'm like, who said hi to us? And she's like, the guy that just went by. He's hiding behind the tree right now. And I'm like, neat. Okay. And she's like, yeah, I was telling Grandpa about him the other day because he went by when we were at the house and he said hi to me. And he told me, I forget what she said he told her. But, you know, I was like, and she's like, you can ask Papa because I told him about this. And I'm like, I am not really sure if you're having your big imagination or if you're really seeing something or if it's a little bit of all of the above. But she was like, yeah, I see him. She's like, went on and on. She was just like, I see him all the time and he'll say hi to me and then he runs away before, like, I'm like, cool, neat. Right. Because, I mean, I've had, like, I've mentioned it here where, like, for instance, we'll go to this abandoned, like, old Civil War era, like, cemetery. And I can tell my husband stories about like the unmarked graves and stuff like that. And then I end up literally kind of like being drunk, like passing out after, like when we get in the car, I can barely make it to the car and then I pass out. It feels like all these different people, for lack of a better word, want to talk to me and tell me their stories. And there's all these different voices. It doesn't happen any other time when I'm exposed to like a really strong place like that. But then I like fall asleep and I wake up and it's like it didn't happen, but it just like it takes away all of my energy and it's super weird. And like I have trouble not getting distracted by things I see out of the corner of my eye and things that I hear. I think I've learned to tune it out almost too well because sometimes I kind of wish I was in touch with that stuff. And so I wouldn't be surprised if my daughter is. You know, my parents are like super buttoned up Catholics. They don't talk about shit like that. And I suspect my mother's mother may have had some of these connections, but she's been gone since I was like in the 8th grade. So it's been a long time. But yeah, there's some like weird, but then it's like hard for me because, you know, I've mentioned before that I've like lost people that were my age that shouldn't have passed. And I keep hoping like, okay, if I'm so freaking sensitive and I can tell complete strangers and possibly my daughter can too, why can't I like talk to people that I know and that I miss and make sure they're okay? But apparently it doesn't work that way. It's not like a phone where you can call who you want. It just sort of happens randomly. So yeah, that is not nearly as crazy as Christy's stories, but all true as far as I see it. And I don't really know, like as far as my daughter, what to do because she also completely makes up stories, some of them kind of harmful. Like she says her 2-year-old sister's been kissing with boys at school. I mean,
well, I think those are pretty decipherable. Like, all right,
yeah, no. Like you have to take what she says with a grain of salt. And we're talking about, you know, she's 5. We're talking about like what a lie is and what it is to not tell the truth. But she gets big old wide eyes and is completely just like, yep. And she's not scared. Like, she's just like, yep, that guy was talking to me and he said this and that and he's over there, but then he ran away when you came. And I'm like, alrighty. Like, hair on the back of my neck standing up. I don't even really know what to say. So, do you want me to read about John's dong?
Oh, John's dong. Yeah, read John's dong.
Okay, so John_dong. Nice name, bro. One time when I was like 6 or 7, I was at my friend Scott's house and we had just built a fort in the living room and wanted to set up the Xbox so we could play Super Monkey Ball Deluxe 2 with his sister.
That is like speaking Chinese to me. He's clearly was like born in like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Late 90s, dude.
And he's like, I want to play Super Monkey Ball with your sister. And I'd be like, stay away from the girl. Like, yeah, I'm not... Doesn't sound right to me.
I'm not here to put your ghost story, but I'm here to say, like, seriously, Super Monkey Ball Deluxe? Like, what kind of fucking game is that?
Wanted to play with his Super Monkey Balls with his buddy and his buddy's sister.
Private, personal problem to me.
Anyway, they were playing Xbox, and I remember this clear as day because I wanted to be balls deep in his sister. What? I was to the right of the entertainment center, and to my right is a hallway that leads to the bedrooms, and behind you see why I was correcting this. Behind me was the door to the garage. It was
millennials.
Yeah, man, learn to write, bro. I'm
Just
surprised there's not
kidding.
10 hashtags for me to read in here. Anyway,
Hashtag millennial. Hashtag behind the door. Hashtag. No, I'm just kidding.
look behind you. It was a fairly small house. So while I was balls deep in the sister, their dad would sit in the garage and have a beer and a cigarette. Yeah, I bet he'd have a
No, you
cigarette
did not. All
before
right,
bed
you go.
almost every night. And that's what he was doing the third night while I was banging his daughter. No, he didn't say that part. They were setting up the Xbox. Man, there's a lot of that. And
They
the
like
TV.
Xboxes.
And I'm looking at the game cover when I hear the garage door close and I hear footsteps behind me. I see their dad wearing his gray work t-shirt and his black gym shorts already. He always wore to bed, and he walks past me and says, "Good night, kids, love ya." I heard the footsteps walk to his bedroom. He wasn't at all disturbed that I was balls deep in his daughter, and I heard the door close. I said good night back, but Scott and his sister looked at me all confused and shit. Looked at me all confused and shit, and they're like, "Who are you talking to?" And I'm like, "Your mom. I mean, your dad." And they look at each other, and then look back at me, and then they look at him, and then they look at me. And at this point, at the garage door, and he's still in there smoking his cigarette. The garage door's open, the bedroom door is open, and he was in fact wearing that same outfit. Every time I was there after that point, I always felt uneasy.
So this is another doppelganger story.
Yeah, dude, that means you're gonna die. That means you have like
No, only if you see your own doppelganger, not if you see somebody else's.
But what does it mean when someone else sees your doppelganger? I should be typing that. I should Google that.
It means that there's a spirit that wants to take over the body of the person that it's doubling for.
Okay, so if anybody sees someone who looks like me but they suspect isn't me, kill it with fire because I ain't about to get taken over by no ghost.
Great, I'm gonna end up killing some bitch at a mall. Die, doppelganger!
Yeah, and they'll be like, "This is totally normal." She really
Moni
would
would never shop at BCBG.
Yeah.
You are a liar and a traitor, and you're gonna kill my friend.
150%. I want to talk about Black-Eyed Kids. I never did find that story that
we need to do a whole episode on Black-Eyed Kids. Girl.
So,
totally.
well, we can't ever do it as good as fucking, what are they called? Something Legends.
Things and the stuff?
Something Legends. Oh my God! Astonishing Legends. Astonishing Legends.
Did you hear that? It was
oh my
awesome.
God. I see and heard that, but mostly I heard that.
I heard that too. Dude, that dude that told that story,
yes.
I want to get him on our show.
So, yes. Oh, baby,
I know
yes.
what you're talking about now.
But meanwhile,
you said that.
Black-Eyed Kids are a folk phenomena of people. Having strange encounters with kids whose eyes are entirely black but insist upon entering their vehicle or home and who seem to ooze an overwhelming sense of fear and panic. As a fan of Paranormal Talk Radio, I've heard hundreds of encounters with the Black-Eyed Kids. I would punch one straight up in the fucking face. I don't care if they're a kid.
I just oozed a burp of Whopper, but keep going.
Oh, cute. And I'm fascinated each time, so I searched Reddit for some stories to share with this audience. These are by far the creepiest. So this is an article on Thought Catalog by Chrissy Stockton, just to cite my source. But one of them was, let me scroll down, scrolly, losing my momentum of my story, where he says, "You won't be calling anyone," and it was fucking freaky. Let's see.
Recording?
There it is. Okay. No, you won't be calling anybody. The incident took place about 13 years ago. I had just moved to a new city with my wife. We were small town newlyweds from the Midwest. We moved cross country to one of the biggest cities in the Southwest, and I could attend grad school. Being naive and new to city living, I habitually answered the door without a second thought. Well, first of all, never answer the door in the city because it's Mormons. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, but no, wait, because they the Black-Eyed Kids propel you to do things that you wouldn't normally do.
That's
Like,
true, but he said straight up he was normal to answering the door.
oh,
And
he was normal to
one
answer.
time I was
Okay.
on maternity leave with my kid and I had her boobie, wait, no, my boobie in her mouth and the Mormons came to the door and I was like, I'm busy. And so they like looked in my windows and I was like,
They're
I
like,
just made a man out of you
bitch.
because I'm topless feeding a baby. So
And
you're
what did
welcome,
they do?
Mormon kids. I think they changed religions after that, but I'm not really
They
sure.
like fall over and like burst into flames?
Boobies! Yeah, they were never the same again. But anyways, actually it's not really that cute because breastfeeding babies are hungry. Never again after this. The first thing that should have tipped me off to the try saying that tipsy, the peculiarity of this situation
Peculiar.
was the fact that someone was knocking at 6 in the morning. First of all, fuck that shit o'clock. The second thing that should have dawned on me is this kid had to
Who
reach
the
over.
fuck would answer the door at 6 in the
I
morning?
mean, like I'm
Who
up at 5:30 or
are
5, but I
you?
ain't answering no doors.
I must
Yeah.
hear from you immediately. Who
I'd,
would never? I don't even care if I was awake. First of all, I
I
am
don't care if
awake.
it was my family. I'd be
I
like, you
have to
can
be
wait.
getting ready. Hell no.
You're on the
Nobody come in my
doorstep.
house at 6:30.
I gotta put some
You
clothes on.
crazy? I would never do no. You don't want me to answer the door at 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
Ever.
not a nice lady.
Ever. I will be
I'm
the
gonna burp.
biggest asshole
Oh, that was pizza.
known to
Yuck.
man. Oh, is it pizza burp?
Excuse me, y'all.
I
The
had a
second
Whopper
thing,
burp, and I'm pretty sure sesame seed came out.
I'm gonna talk about this kid giving a reach
Keith,
around to a
talk about
tall
the kid.
pole.
Talk about the
Wait,
kid. Talk
the
about the
second
kid.
thing that should have dawned on me is this kid had to reach over, reach around and wrench it off a rather tall patio gate to unlatch and open it. The knock at the door, oh wait, let me do it for effect, was startling. My wife and I were getting ready for work. A pretty normal routine. God, too much backstory. I opened the door, overtaken by an inexplicable sense of fear. To this day, I can picture him. Teenager, average height, average build. Knee-length black leather coat. Ooh, like
So, like
Columbine.
Columbine. Oh, we
Yeah,
both
that's
said
what I just said. Oh,
it at the same time.
jeez.
James, you
Um,
owe me Coke.
you owe me another drink.
You owe
Short,
me a wine.
short black hair, some sangria fruit, and sunglasses. The sunglasses
Oh.
at 6 a.m. struck me as odd. Well, not in California. And even more odd, he was eating an apple. He was very polite and asked if he could come in and warm up. I said no, closed the door, and slid the security chain into place. A moment later, another knock. I opened the now chained door, and before I could speak, he asked again if he could come in and warm up, and I said no. It's like the little pigs, let him
Hell
in.
no.
I reply and attempted to close the door, but before the door could shut, he put his hand out, stopping the door on its hinges. He looked directly into my eyes, still wearing his sunglasses, and said, "Can I at least get some ketchup for my apple?"
Who the
Ew. My
hell
my
would
kid would do that, but
an
she's
apple?
she's 5. Fuck. And he said exactly
Ew.
what I would say. Fuck that. I reply, albeit a little bit confused. Get the hell out of here. My wife is calling the police. He takes a moment to let this information sink in, lowers his glasses, revealing eyes as black as obsidian.
Oh, man.
Wow, that's descriptive. And says, "No, you won't be calling anybody." At that moment, I force the door shut, lock it, and call out to my wife. She's scared shitless hiding in the bedroom. That's helpful, honey. All jacked
Yeah,
up on
me
adrenaline,
too.
I rip the curtains back and look out the window next to the door. He's gone. Absolutely no trace of him. That's really the MO. Okay, so the story of the black-eyed kids, the MO is they're black-eyed, obviously, and they make you feel scared, but they also give you some bullshit reason why they need to come into your car or house, and then they, like, when you don't do it, they get really pissed off and they start yelling and screaming, but then they disappear. Like, you blink and they couldn't have been gone that far and they're just gone.
Yeah, but the thing is that you actually feel yourself actually going through the motions
Yeah.
sometimes of doing it.
Yes.
And then you catch yourself like, no, like warning, warning. It's almost like they have this kind of like a spell or a weird, you just feel yourselves going through motions and you're not sometimes even noticing, even if there's no glasses, that their eyes are black.
No.
And then all of a sudden you kind of snap out of it and you realize
And they usually
something's not
smell
right.
like something from the depths of
Yeah.
hell. Yes.
Yeah, and it's really bizarre. And you're right. The second that you, and I guess you heard what I was talking about, the what is it called?
Something Encounters.
The show.
Astonishing Legends.
Astonishing Legends. Their Black Eyed Kids episode is very good because
but yes, they're very good.
They interview one of the main guys that first brings like major stories. His major story of when he was in the car with the movie theater and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I mean, just such a crazy story. And then they bring in that girl that's in Texas.
Yes.
And she lives in a subdivision.
Where they fell into a parallel universe and saw like Black Eyed Kids talking.
Yeah,
yes.
Crazy. And then if you ever watch or listen to Astonishing Legends, one of their very first episodes is called Devil in a Diner or Devil in the City or something like that. Anyway, it's very similar, but it's with an adult where they interview a lady that is a writer for Saturday Night Live. And she tells the story, and it's so crazy, where her and her friends, they had just finished writing and doing a Saturday Night Live thing Saturday night. And they go to this diner, and they're all sitting around this table. And all of a sudden, like she to this day hears the door jingle. And she felt something that was so evil that she to this day has like no explanation for it. And it terrified like the whole table. Like they all were like we got to get the fuck out of here. Like it was that bizarre. Yeah. They have such cool stories. I love Astonishing Legends and Last Podcast on the Left. They're like my favorites. Yeah. But Astonishing Legends Black Eyed Kids, you're right. They're amazing. That was such a good show. I heard it. Anywho's, so, all right. Well, I hope, in our own drunkenest way, have managed to scare you just a teeny tiny baby bit.
Baby bits.
With our drunken ghost
with evil
stories.
demon babies, like the one that started the podcast by trying to pull fire onto her silly cute little head.
Scary times, scary times. Yes, your baby trying to start fires before we even get up and
Yeah, she's scary. That's a scary. I'm gonna get murdered in my sleep, and it's gonna be that little bruiser, just like you didn't let me have my pacifier, and then she's gonna stab me.
I wanted my match pacifier, Mommy. Why didn't you just give it to me?
Oh my God, my kids are nuts. Yes.
Anyway, all right. Well, this is a very unusual show. We were just trying to fill the space in because I think you and I both like drunk history.
Yes.
And we like horror. Yes. So we thought, who would not want to combine these things? Like,
but now Drunk Christy is going to go downstairs because Rick is shaking that apple tree. Like, come down, little person.
I'm sure his pants are not even on anymore. He just like,
he wants you to fall out of the tree on top of him, and then you're going to fill the space. Never mind.
I mean, in theory, he'd love that to happen, but when I was crying and asking for more wine, his ass wasn't necessarily running to the store either.
That's not cool.
If he's lucky, I might.
He might get lucky.
Grace him with my vagina.
There's vagina all over my face.
Hey, if he's lucky.
And I like it. What? So on that note,
I have a feeling our trip in November is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, we got to record like live in real time. Maybe like, not podcasted, like video it, like Facebook Live or something. Be like, this is the Creeping It Real show live.
We can do anything we want because I apparently am an awesome editor, even though I'm really not.
Because you do zero editing. So
I know. That's my skill, is I don't do any editing. I'm like, this is a masterpiece on its own.
We're going to kill poor Yardley. He's just like, please edit this.
He's not going to listen to this. No way will he listen.
That's
true.
He
will be like, oh, hell no, I ain't listen to that shit.
I don't believe him. I think nobody should listen to this. And I swear to God, mark my words as a librarian who can research and find your ass. If you put a shitty review for this particular episode somewhere, I will find you, and it won't be pretty. So I'm not making any real specific threats, but I will find you.
Hey,
So,
you guys grow a pair and let us be great. I mean,
yeah,
seriously.
if you don't like it, just listen to another one
Move
one of
on.
our shows. Not someone else's. Listen to one of our more professional ones.
Yeah, the less drunken ones. And I
Yeah.
usually announce when we're drunk.
Yeah,
So there's
told
that.
you ahead of time, so don't come crying us.
We're just trying, because Yardley couldn't make it this week, so we're just trying to be a nice person and fill in the gap. So
Yeah.
you're welcome.
Anyway, go fill the gap between your legs. I will talk to you later.
Okay, I'm gonna go bye-bye now.
Bye-bye, listeners. Creep It Real. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
I make more mistakes than a drunken musketeer. I hit my head, I stub my toe, I holler out in fear. Why can't I get it right? Why is life such a chore? And then I refill the Brita, spill it on the floor. If it was easy, would I really care?